Welcome, I'm Dr. Leonard Bright. I was subjected to workplace defamation. My manager made several slanderous statements about me in an effort to dissuade people from believing my allegations of mistreatment in my department. He also used slander to negatively impact my promotion to the full professor rank. In this video, I'm going to explain what happened, why it happened, and what I did about it. Workplace defamation is on the rise, and it occurs when someone makes a false statement that harms the reputation of another. And there are two kinds of defamation. When it's written, it's called libel. When it's spoken, it's called slander. Hence, a key point with defamation is that it occurs from not only what you say, but also what you do, when it creates a false impression of what you know to be untrue. I was subjected to slander by my dean. It occurred after I filed an EEOC complaint against Texas A&M's promotion process and decision to deny my promotion to the full professor rank. See my promotion denied series where I go into much more detail about this case. When my dean learned of my EEOC allegations, he got angry. Then he retaliated and then engaged in what I called a campaign of slander against me. This started when he recused himself from my promotion process by refusing to complete his assessment of my file. Then he blamed his decision on me. Here's how he attempted to explain himself.
A moment ago, you said that you didn't recuse yourself from the process because you were angry with him, but because of, I think you said, his behavior and communication style.
Yeah.
Can you explain a little bit about what it was about his behavior and communication style?
His communication with people during this entire now almost 16-month process has been aggressive, not civil, almost bullying in some cases in terms of a communication style. And I told Dr. Bright in our meeting that I was just disappointed in that when I considered that this was someone who was trying to become a full professor in our college. I believe that civility, respect for others is really important, especially when we're in a school that teaches that in terms of public service and serving the breadth of citizens that you'll be dealing with when you leave here. And so that was my concern. And the way he was communicating with others was not normal, not compared to the other faculty in this college and the ones I met around the university. And so I was disappointed in his behavior, and I really questioned whether he was ready just yet. If this was the way he was going to respond when things didn't go his way, and he would adopt this style of communicating with others, should that affect his ability to be a full professor? And because I felt I was too close to the problem, because the college that I happened to be leading was still under the EEOC investigation as far as I knew at that time, I felt it was the fairest thing to Dr. Bright to recuse myself and let someone who had none of that potential baggage take a look at his file.
The dean argued that he had bias against me because of my behavior that prevented him from evaluating my promotion file, and that he was doing me a favor by recusing because his decision would not have had been based on my performance. Upon learning of this explanation several weeks earlier, I had asked the university to remove him from all evaluative matters concerning me because I believe that the kind of bias he was saying could not be turned on and off, and that if he had animus towards me that could injure my promotion process, then what would prevent that from injuring other evaluative processes concerning me? To my surprise, I learned that he was resisting being removed. The committee questioned him about this oxymoron.
So why later on, when he had a second grievance, did you, pertaining to the department head, why did you feel then you could reasonably?
Yeah, no, that's a fair question. Because the grievances he applied later, I thought were based on facts. They were based on interpreting an instruction or a policy, looking at documentation that had been presented, looking at the justification behind a particular assignment, and deciding was that fair or not. I don't see a need to defer that. I don't hold grudges. I don't get angry at people I work with or for. I never have.
His explanation for remaining involved in my evaluations after admitting having a bias against me was very revealing. His decision to recuse himself from my promotion process was not about protecting me from harm, because if that was the case, he would have removed himself from everything, including my promotion and any other evaluative matters concerning me, given his admitted bias that he had against me. As the hearing went on, his story began to unravel. As he worked harder and harder to sell his false statements and actions that he took against me to the committee, the more and more the committee members expressed skepticism and disbelief in what he was saying. Under the pressure of the committee's questioning, the dean begins to admit what he knows was the truth about my character. You gotta hear this.
From what I am hearing, on the one hand, you're saying his personality is very difficult. I work at law school, and I can, including myself, I can give you a list of obnoxious professors I meet every single day, both within Texas A&M as well as outside of Texas A&M. And to the extent that, even assuming that he's obnoxious, he seemed certainly fine to me when we spoke with him, but even admitting that his behavior does not comport to the high standards of Bush School, I do think that being a professor is not a matter of how culturally well-behaved he is.
I just hear something underneath this. Yeah, it's very interesting. The language is very interesting. It seems like if he were not as abrasive by others' interpretations, perhaps people would have been more supportive. And that's a problem.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. I have never heard a negative comment about Leonard Bright in terms of being a hardworking, competent professor, ever. I don't think that people didn't like Dr. Bright. It could have been true on an individual basis, but I've been here 4 years. As I said, I have never heard people talk negatively about him. He is a guy who comes to work to go to work. He works hard. He's here all the time. He does his job. There's never been an issue of that.
No, but earlier you said he was aggressive. He didn't behave. Didn't behave in a civil manner, and he could bully people. This
is after the fact. I never saw that before from Dr. Bright. This is not a daily problem. I don't know that he does it to other people. But when he got news that he didn't like, his reaction was noticeable in the way he communicated to people. And so that's what bothered me and why I recused myself, because I think that's a very significant component. Everybody doesn't have to agree with me, but to be a full professor, I believe, in a college, you should be civil, you should be a respectful and respected colleague, and you should be able to deal with people when things aren't going well in a manner that shows that respect and civility. And having behavior inside the college that does not model that is not helpful for us.
He has served in the provost's office for several years, right? Including as the assistant provost.
Right.
Has there been any email or any document or anything at all that says, in fact, the provost asked him to serve in that capacity for more time. So is there anything at all that says, look, you don't conform to the civilized behavior expected in Texas A&M, and therefore, therefore, we would like you to not serve in this capacity, or your service is failing because of this, or anything other than from your school? Because I'm now surprised that he served in that service capacity for such a long time with such a personality deficit, as you seem to describe it.
Well, first of all, I'm not describing it as a personality deficit. I'm not describing it as his behavior routinely. I'm not describing it as the way he treats everyone all day, every day. I'm doing none of that. What I'm saying is that in this situation, when he heard that the department P&T committee had not supported his recommendation for promotion, his communication style became aggressive. And it was aggressive.
So, Welsh, I am troubled by that characterization, and this maybe in a sense goes to the heart of how people perceive differences in behaviors, whether behaviors are racist or not. And one of the troublesome things in our own country has been the characterization of African Americans who are seeking, specific outcomes as aggressive and bullying and not respectful that is there is a language that is associated with that with a history of racism. And I'm not saying that you're racist, but what I'm saying is that there might be triggers that get pulled where somebody's perceived, if they are aggressive about wanting certain outcomes, as that is more inappropriate. I'm just putting that out there.
So as you can see, my manager's attempt to explain his slanderous behavior fell flat because it was flatly false. None of us expect nor deserve to be defamed nor slandered, especially at the hands of our managers. It is a kind of non-physical assault that can take a heavy toll on anyone. I have experienced it, and I want you to know that you can survive it as well. I did not accept the treatment, I wasn't quiet about it, and I fought back. You can too. Remember to subscribe to my channel to receive updates on when new videos are available. I really enjoy addressing these kinds of workplace problems and hope that you stay encouraged and know that you too can make it through.